Good evening, my Justice Warriors. Good grief, how I've missed you. I can't even talk. I've missed you guys so much. Um, yes, it is Friday the 12th. I think the last time I was on was like 4 days ago, like Monday or Tuesday. It seems like forever, and I apologize for that. It's truly the brace face and just lack of lack of excitement about all the crapola going on. But that changed today. I mean, that certainly changed today. I'll give a minute for people to come in as I am checking out my lighting and everything. Everything. How is the lighting? The lighting's fine. I'm the only one that worries about that. None of my viewers worry about that. It seems like it's kind of dark over here. I don't know. Why does it seem dark over there? You know what? Maybe I need to pull this up a little bit. That's probably what it is. There. I think that's better. Okay. I think it's good to go. Maybe a little... Got a little light in my hand. Let's see if adding it. Oh, Anna Bees, hello. Thank you so much for coming in, my dear. How is my lighting? I've got one extra little light. I'm trying to figure out if I should use it or lose it. Is that good? I don't want to overlight, but you know how I am. I don't want to underlight either. How are you doing, my dear? I've missed you so much. So I've got a couple of notebooks. I've got my veggie juice with a little cranberry in it. I've got my navy hat. I can't believe I've never worn this hat before. It's so cute. Forged by the sea, you know. I got my kid who's forging himself by the sea. The one that's in, he's basically in hospital corpsman training in Texas right now. It looks good. I missed you too. Aw. How's your daughter, my dear? And now my other son is saying he's going to serve our country as well. He's thinking of the Air Force. So it's kind of cool. Although I worry if they were deployed and if there was craziness, because we know that there's been a lot of craziness lately. So let me just jump right into it. Everything I say is simply my opinion for the sake of hoping to start a conversation, open up a discussion, learn something, be educational. All my videos are made for the tube of you. It's an infotainment platform. I'm so glad that your daughter is healing good, Anna Bees. And Christine Herman is here too. My dear, I've missed you, honey. How's it going? This is awesome. Thanks so much for being here, you guys. So did you notice the photograph on the thumbnail? It's so effing disturbing. And I can't believe that other people aren't focusing on it. OMG. I just want to jump right in. After I do this, hit your like button if you don't mind, and make sure you're still subscribed. Share a video with somebody that you think might like my channel. Turn on your notification bell to ring a ding ding. And yeah, so the photograph that I used for the thumbnail is kind of granular, kind of grainy. It's hard to see, but it's a close up of a photograph that is on Little E's desk. So the photograph was released today or yesterday. 95,000 photographs were dropped, and the link to all of them, I believe it's all of them, is in the description already. I put that in there before I started. How's my hair? Looks like it's uneven. I can't have that. What is going on? Hair, stop being like that. Quit messing with me. So 95,000 freaking images from the sort of from the E estate, but they were released by the E congressional organization, whatever they're calling themselves. I'm just like mind blown. 95,000 images, you guys. 95,000. So about 19 of them have been plucked and are really circulating the news channels. And the one that I used a close up for the thumbnail is one of those 19. So I texted it to you, Anna Bees, the wide shot. And maybe I'll put something in like a thumbnail, or I mean in a community post. I could do the thumbnail on a community post and then have the second picture be the wide angle so you know where it's from, because it's just the desk that's between Steve Bannon and Little E. So Little E is sitting at his desk and Bannon is sitting across from him. And there's a few objects on his giant desk, and a couple of those objects are photographs with faces redacted out of each one of them. So one photograph, it looks like a super small child that Little E is holding, and that one's on the left and the face is redacted. And then on the right is the one that I used for the thumbnail. And I want to know what you guys think about it, because I don't know what to think about it. The thumbnail is very strange. Exactly, Anna Bees. So what I see when I look at it, I can see if I can show it to you. You know how I am. Okay, so here's the whole image. We got Little E right here. We got Bannon right there. There's a lamp in the middle. There's a big screen from a computer. And then at the base of the lamp is that photograph. And that photograph is framed. It looks like a blue frame. And you can see the redacted part because it's dark. But let me see if I can. Oh man, so many of these pictures are so disturbing. Are you ready? I don't know that anything can make you ready for this one. I'll put a bunch of these in the community tab. Okay, trigger warning. This is Little E in the bathtub, looking very demonic. So he's maybe, hopefully, just hiding himself with the shower curtain, but who knows what he's hiding. Okay, so this is one of the worst that you don't see a lot of, but it's one of the 19. It is instructions for the jawbreaker gag. Terms and conditions and disclaimer of warranty. Always observe a person who has a gag in their mouth. Never leave that person unattended. The jawbreaker gag will cause a person's mouth to produce more saliva than a regular gag and create a choking hazard if the person is unattended or inverted for any reason. It is responsible for a person to vomit and suffocate even while standing. Sorry, I misread that. It is possible for a person to vomit and suffocate even while standing. So extreme care and caution must be exercised with the use of this product. Failure to follow these instructions could result in serious injury or death. Never leave a person with a jawbreaker gag in their mouth unattended. And then it says something about you understand the risks associated with the use of this product and take the precautions mentioned above. So that I thought was one of the most disturbing until I focused in on that thing on the desk. Okay, so here's the focus in of the thing on the desk. Are you ready? It's super disturbing. This is what I used for my thumbnail. So you see the redacted face with the black box over it. And to my left is what looks like a little kid's hair. It looks like, to me, it looks like they're laying on their stomach and This is their elbow kind of sticking out from their shirt. And then to me, it looks like they're laying on top of somebody else who's laying the other way. So the other person that they're laying on top of, their head, you can't see, it's like behind this white thing. And then it looks to me like their arms are crossed, and it almost looks like they're laying in a coffin. So it looks like the dress of the full-size person with their arms crossed across their chest, it is like tan, but it's weird because it matches the tan of what's up here. So there's like white and tan, white and tan. Oh my goodness. I almost wonder if it's a body bag and if that's another body back there. Help me, you guys. I just can't. I started to get suspicious of the whole island photo release being more than just all this perverted stuff, but being a lot of the Titanic stuff and mausoleums and such. So not just cabanas to send people into for their slavery and their quote unquote pleasuring, but I see in all of the photographs, and again, you can look at the link in the description, in my opinion, in my, what's hopefully just a humble conspiracy theory, paranoid, delusional opinion, allegedly, I see a lot of evidence of sanitizing and eliminating. So if you catch my drift. So I'm thinking if they imported a bunch of people from other countries that didn't have birth certificates, they're undocumented, it never happened, right? If there's no documentation, it never happened. Have not had much time on technology or late getting ready for Christmas. Decorating house was a real chore in my condition, but it got all done. Oh, Christine, how is your health? I know that's been an issue for you. Yuck. Christine, I hope your hips are doing better. That's right. That's right. Your hip surgery. My hips are good. Have problems with my low back. Have stenosis and starting to progress. Still walking with walker. Other than that, doing pretty good. Well, that's awesome that you're walking with a walker. You want to keep doing that as much as possible, right? Like not overdo it, but definitely pushing yourself. The old use it or lose it. Dang, I'm glad you're using a walker. That's great. Once my mom fell into really poor health, she would never use a walker. It drove me nuts. And so she would use a wheelchair way before she needed to use a wheelchair. And then she ended up being an invalid for the last 3 years of her life, not being able to get out of bed. So it really, that was her choice, and she was stubborn, and I tried working with her a lot, and I just have to accept that she lived her life the way she wanted. But it's really good to use a walker when you can, right? Exactly. Move or wind up solid. Yeah. Weld up solid. I thought that was a typo. Exactly. Move or weld up solid. Very smart, Christine. Very smart. So yeah, in my guesstimation, today is the worst day in DJT's life, probably, with the dropping of the 95,000 photographic images. And he's in a lot of them. There's the one, I don't know if I took screenshots of all of them. Let me see. I think I got the some of the rudest ones. Okay, are you ready? There's the Trump condom, $4.50. You see that on the little black chalkboard. It says Trump condom, $4.50. And then underneath that, it says finally. And then it's got a picture of Donald, and it says, I'm huge. And I guess that this image of him, kind of like an Andy Warhol image with the I'm huge, is something that is in the Smithsonian. So that's really creepy. Here's a really bad photograph of him with his bestie and a hot chick who's not redacted. So the fact that she's not redacted almost makes me think that maybe she was like a Ghislaine type. I don't know, but it's a really bad picture of the Don. Ugh. Oh, yeah, trigger warning for sure. Let's see. You know, my phone has been acting up super weird. Trigger warning for sure. There's this photograph is one of them. It's just a black glove. And I'm sorry, like I said, trigger warning. I've never seen a effing glove like that, and I kind of wish I never did. And then there's a photograph of a whole bunch of perverted things. I guess this red arched thing is beads for inserting. There's a bunch of weird stuff, a bunch of bondage stuff, a bunch of toys. I'm not going to go through them because it's just too rude. But what I do want to look at with you guys is, I think it was in my last video that I was talking about how when they took the camera and they were walking up towards the swimming pools and the cabanas on Epstein Island, there's this one area that really piqued my interest, and this is that area. So, you know, it's paved. It's like, I think it is just kind of like random flat rocks as the ground, and then a lot of rocks making like walls on either side, which wouldn't be so creepy to me except knowing what would go on there. It kind of looks to me like a so that people can't escape. And then this part with windows, I'm just like, why would you want windows in a rock wall that's exposed to the elements? You would think that that glass would break. And maybe there's not glass in the windows. Maybe I'm being silly to think that. Maybe it's just holes in the wall. But I would think that that would be a bad idea too, because all those rocks on top, I'm going to bet that it is glass, because that's a lot of weight. Yeah, you wouldn't do that. So why do they have the windows there? So that you can watch as people are getting off of the plane or the boat? I don't know. So here's just another view of that same thing. As it's like this big like landing area about halfway between where the helicopter pad is and the swimming pool. Very, very curious. Also, in my last video, I was mentioning how much, I mean, it's not just me, everybody's been saying it, how this weirdo, when he snatched his little peace prize from the FIFA people, and they presented him with the trophy that really looks Titanic to me, with all those hands reaching up towards a globe. It's really creepy to me. So they presented the trophy to him and then the medal. And of course, he's supposed to let the person presenting the trophy and the medal to him pick the medal up and place it around his neck. But as we all know, he tried to look very mischievous as he plucked it up himself quickly before the guy had a chance, and then quickly put it on himself. And I don't know if you can see the look on his face, but he's looking creepy AF. Like, I don't think he was intending to look as creepy as he looked. Like full-blown dementia Don is what it looks like to me. In my thumbnail, like so many other people did too, I put a picture of him next to the Grinch because it's like a perfect match. But you know how Caroline Levitt has doubled down on the bruising on the back of his hand is just from shaking hands too many times. So I have this image of this guy in traction, and this is Keith Edwards put this up. It says, "Me after shaking too many hands." That's all it says. "Me after shaking too many hands." Keith Edwards, cracking me up. He's a hilarious content creator if you don't know his stuff. So let's see if there was anything else on here I wanted to show you before we go on to the talking points, and see what you guys are saying. Yes, we have to keep moving. OMG, I have never seen anything like that. Oh, you're talking about the glove, the black glove? I mean, I've been to, have I been? I think I went to a Love's type of place, an adult toys type of place. I'm pretty sure I've been to one. I know when I was in graduate school, we had one come to us in our class, in our human sexuality class. It was a woman-owned sex toy store in San Francisco. And the professor had one of the owners. It was a co-op too, so everybody that worked there owned part of it. So she had one of the co-founders of it present a bunch of sex toys to, just, I guess, break the ice and just let people not be so prude about things. I mean, I've seen catalogs. I mean, it's not my thing, but I've never seen a glove like that. I mean, it's super creepy. And I don't even want to think about, of course, obviously the digits would be used for what they would be used for, but I'll just spit it out, multiple digits. And to think that these aren't toys that they were using with consenting adults. These are adult toys that they were abusing children with. That's the point that we need to pay attention to. I think sometimes I would rather not know this BS is going. Just let me live in the world full of fun and innocence. I know, Christine, I hear you. I feel the same way sometimes. And I also feel like it's really important to pay attention because I just feel like it's such a precarious time. We're in such a dangerous predicament. And if we're not paying attention, I feel like we have a lot to lose. And if we are paying attention, I don't think we will lose the freedoms that are on the chopping block. I mean, honestly, I feel like our country is pretty much run by Daddy Vladdy, and that it could get a heck of a lot worse if we don't keep our eye on the ball. So that's why I pay attention to it. I mean, part of me just doesn't want to see any of it, but I get sucked in, and then I feel like I need to pay attention to stay on my toes and to stay safe. And we're a week away. Today's the 12th. We're exactly 1 week away from Congress being mandated, subpoenaed to release all of the files. So this 95,000 photos is something totally separate. It's mind-boggling how much there is. And I'm so sick of people saying, well, you know, there's no proof that DJT did anything illegal. I disagree. I thoroughly disagree. Plus, we're in the court of public opinion right now. We're not in a jury trial. In a jury trial, of course, you have to present evidence to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. But in the court of public opinion, that rule is not applicable at all. It doesn't apply. So I think we've all seen enough evidence. And to me, the biggest evidence is how much hostility and rage and freaking out happens when something is released, like, say, the birthday letter. You know, if he could have just played it off by saying, you know, boys will be boys, locker room talk. But the way he freaked out and filed a $10 billion lawsuit, you know, these people give themselves away. Oh man, do they give themselves away. Caroline with the KKK, Blondie Bondi, CASHAPP Patel, Bongino, they all give themselves away. Howard Nutlick and Scott Bessent, the Secretary of Treasury. Janine Pierno, the box of wine judge / lawyer, Fox News host. And I was saving best for last Kristi Noem, because Kristi Noem had to go in front of a Senate hearing yesterday and had her arse served to her, which was very satisfying to see. Very satisfying to see. I've been to an adult store too, but I never saw that, Christine. I know what you mean. I know. So that is really disgusting stuff. There's other things I wanted to talk about too. Steve Bannon is a dirty rat bastard, as is William Barr and Alan Dershowitz. Those three get left out a lot, probably because they're so freaking ugly, and I'm not even kidding. Like, they're so fugly, people just don't want to focus on them. But they are all three men in positions, high-powered positions. They know a lot. They're guilty AF. And I'm glad to see the photographs circulating with them in them, and Woody Allen and Clinton. And I never realized how much Bill Gates looks like Woody Allen. Did you guys realize that? So in the 19 photographs that were released to the news channels that have been circulating the most today, Woody Allen is in there and Bill Gates is in there. And at times, it's hard to tell which is which. I never realized how much they look alike. But I guess Woody Allen hung out with little E as much as he possibly could, which makes sense, right? We all know what he is. Absolutely disgusting is what he is. It's just grueling, absolutely grueling. So that is, I've been kind of between notebooks. I used up my tail end of my notebook, and I've started a couple of notebooks here. So let me look at my notes momentarily. Oh, so little E was invited to, you've probably heard this. He was invited to Thanksgiving dinner in 2017 at the White House by the sitting president in 2017. We all know that he was also offered a position, a cabinet position, by our current sitting president in his first term. Tries to say that he wasn't associating with the man anymore, at the same time offering him a cabinet position, and at the same time inviting him to Thanksgiving dinner in our White House that we own. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So again, something I want to say that I'm surprised other people haven't been saying it yet today. It's my opinion, one sec. It's my opinion that a lot of these heavy hitters, these high powered billionaires that have been protected by our president, and that they are in the files, and that he's fighting for his life because he doesn't want the information about him to be found out, but he also wants to protect the people who are lining his pockets. It's my guesstimation and my opinion that after today, and after those 95,000 photos were released today, they might have been released yesterday, but again, the link is in the description so you can peruse them yourself, but be warned, it puts knots in my stomach to look at any of them, but that's because of what I see when I'm looking at them. Those same people that have been trying to hide all this information and trying to keep the Donald in the position of power, I would think that they are all ready to throw him under the bus, because the only way they could stop the digging for all of those Epstein files, stop the investigation, would be a resignation. I don't think that the Don would ever resign, no matter what, even with a freaking loaded weapon pointed at his head. I don't think he would ever resign. But I would imagine that the people surrounding him are going to be pressuring him. And that's just to have a chance. Although, honestly, I don't think that anything can stop the freight train. I think that the survivors that have been trying to pursue justice for all this time, they've been very patient, they've been very diligent, they've hired legal counsel, they've filed motions, they've filed lawsuits, they're going through the judicial system appropriately and patiently, painstakingly. And I don't think they're going to give up. I don't think they're going to give up. I'm so impressed with so many of these women. I'd say Annie Farmer is the highest profile, other than Virginia Giuffre. It blows my mind that people just go, oh, yeah, she offed herself. I know that that's what her documentation says. I know that that's the official narrative, but it's about as obvious as little E getting Epsteined in prison, as far as I'm concerned. So freaking obvious. Imagine if she were here, the whole thing would be over and done with. Don't you think? But without her here, she inspired a lot of the survivors to be very bold and brave, and they were the wind under her wings and she's the wind under their wings. So Annie Farmer is the little sister of Maria Farmer. Maria Farmer is the artist who was also abused. She's the one who was in E's office late at night back in the 90s when she first started working for little E. And little T came by late at night at the office and was looking her up and down, and it made her very uncomfortable. And then little E said, "No, she's not for you." And he took little T into another room. As this was happening, little T said, "Oh, I thought she was 16. So you piece that story together. What was in the other room and what was little E alluding to when he said she's not for you? At the time, I believe Annie Farmer was 25, and she will be the first to admit that she looked really young for her age. Did I say Annie Farmer? That's Maria Farmer, was 25. Her little sister Annie was 9 or 10 years younger than her. So she was 15 or 16 when she was assaulted by Jiz and little E. And they didn't know, Annie and Marie did not know that each other was assaulted because it was so shocking and uncomfortable. I don't think they talked about it. I don't think they told each other. I think that Maria's happened. Maria Farmer, that's her name. I think not Maria. Hers happened in Ohio at the property owned by Les Wex in New Albany, Ohio. And she was completely trapped, like in a castle type of situation. She literally couldn't leave the building without, no joke, without releasing the hounds. Like she could not get fresh air without releasing the hounds. And so she was trapped. She had been sent there or accepted an invitation to be sent there to work on commissioned artwork for the movie As Good as It Gets. And it was as bad as it gets. So around the same time, Jiz and little E took her little sister to Zorro Ranch in New Mexico and told Annie and told her parents that it was like an art camp or something and that there were going to be other teenagers there, which was a huge lie. She was the only one, and they assaulted her there. And here she is at Zorro Ranch in the middle of the freaking desert in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Their family lived in Kentucky. So Annie, the poor girl. So she's a psychologist now. She lives in Texas. I think she's in Austin, Texas. And she's very outspoken. Maria went underground for like 20 or 25 years. She changed her name. She quit doing art because she was scared for her life. And she worked as like a curator in an art museum in North Carolina. And she's battled cancer 3 times. She's currently in her 3rd battle against cancer that she believes has come from all this toxicity. So that's why we don't see Maria so much. She is outspoken and she does do interviews and she definitely puts herself out there. She also feels very responsible for her little sister being victimized, being the bigger sister, and being the one that connected her sister with the perps. She feels very responsible. It's hideous, the guilt that these people feel. Some of the other faces that you see more of are Courtney Wild and Sarah Ransom. And Sarah Ransom was 22 when she first came into their orbit and was abused. So she's had a more difficult path towards justice, but the things that they did to her were still illegal. It was still assault. It was still kidnapping, basically, like taking her to the island and then withholding her passport from her, not letting her leave. But again, being outside of the continental US, they could get away with some of this crap. And, you know, little E paid off the islands millions and millions of dollars. You know, he paid off the Miami or the West Palm Beach Police Department at least $100,000 a year that he would donate to them. So he basically owned them. You can only imagine in Santa Fe what the politics were there. Again, that was where he won, or somebody with a LLC called Zorro won an 83 or $85 million lottery. I think it was the night before he went to prison in 2008, 2009. So definitely connected with politicians, for sure. We know that. We know that. It just makes me sad and disgusted that people on the right don't really care about any of this. Well, I think that they do. I think that they do. I think that, they're getting, you know, their news feed doesn't show the same things that our news feeds show. B, they think that it's a conspiracy and a setup. They don't think that their dear leader would really do the things that he, in my opinion, did. And I mean, denial is not just a river in Egypt. Denial is huge. And I think it's embarrassing for people that have been swindled by this con man to admit that they fell for his shenanigans for all these years. I think it's really humiliating, especially falling for the whole like release the files thing that he kind of ran his whole platform, you know, his whole presidential candidacy on. I'm going to release the files. I'm going to lower the price of eggs. I'm going to lower the price of everything. And I'm going to get rid of all these criminals, the red rummers, the rapists, and the criminals. Isn't he describing himself? I mean, can only imagine, other than Ivana and his brother and little E and who's the other guy? Brunel, Jean-Luc Brunel. His associates that were on the helicopter that crashed in 1990. The 3 executives from the Taj Mahal, Trump Taj Mahal. And I haven't read Ivana's book, but a friend of mine read it, and she said that Ivana writes in her book that she believed that Donnie had something to do with that helicopter going down. We all know that he falsely claimed that he was supposed to be on that helicopter to get to get attention, to get sympathy, to steal the headlines, to get publicity, basically. But he lied. He lies all the time. He's what the news media has documented like 30,000 lies in his first term. 30,000? You just can't make this stuff up. I think you're right. No one wants to admit to themselves that they were hoodwinked. Well, and especially when hindsight's 2020, and then you're like, duh, so obvious, right? Let me look more at my notes. Thank you so much for being here, my dear. What else do I have in here? Oh, yesterday, or was it yesterday or the day before, where he was really perseverating, and he was talking about pencils and dolls again. Remember his whole pencils and dolls thing? Let me try to even my hair out. There we go. Sorry. So he was talking about kids don't need 37 pencils. They only need, a couple of pencils. They'll be fine. First of all, why are you even bringing pencils up? It's like he wants to prevent kids from learning to read and write. And this number 37, he repeated with the dolls. Your daughters don't need 37 dolls. They'll be fine with a couple of dolls. It's just like, what's the significance of 37? Maybe because he's 47 right now. He was 45th president. Now he's a 47th president. Maybe it's crossing wires in his brain and he's just hung up on 37. I don't know. But why he was saying your kids don't need 37 dolls and your kids don't need 37 pencils, while he needs $37 billion, right? And 37 yachts and 37 gold-plated jumbo jets and 37 ballrooms and 37 wives and 37 mistresses, 37 hamburglers. Wow. So he went on tour last night. He started like a campaign tour. Again, I think attempting to control the narrative and distract. So when the 95,000 images were dropped yesterday or today, when these things are coming. When you're on the inside track, it doesn't just happen out of the blue. Like for us, the public, it's out of the blue. But for him, he would have known it was coming. So he started this campaign tour last night, basically campaigning for the midterms or for 2028. I don't know. But it seems to me that he's desperate, beyond desperate, and that it's like his last hurrah. Hopefully. I mean, it is Friday. You just never know what the weekends hold with this one, huh? Every weekend, this entire term, almost an entire year, every weekend is full of shenanigans. Hit the like if you're listening. Thanks, Christine, my dear. I never even thought of him before 2016. Yeah, I know. I remember when he threw his hat in and he was like one of 12 candidates. And I was like, oh, no way. No way. I was like, not in a million years. And then the unthinkable happened. Did DT ever withhold from his own kids? Withhold money? Withhold information? His rallies today really suck. Yeah, I know. Like back in his heyday, He was like the Wizard of Oz. He could really put on a show. And then even this whole last 2024 campaign, he was terrible, absolutely terrible. I'll never forget the one where he was listening to the music for 45 minutes and just swaying on the stage. And Kristi Noem was there and she was like, "Sir, would you like us to play your song?" And he was like, "My what?" And she was like, "Your song." And he's like, "Huh?" She's like, "You know, your favorite song, the one that we play at the end." And he was like, "Oh, yeah, play my song." It was so weird. He was totally having an Alzheimer's moment for sure. And now, puppy killer herself, freaking Secretary of Homeland Security. Ice Barbie is more like it, right? So when Caroline Leavitt was talking about the bruising on the back of his hand and really doubling down on it, she said something. The Oval Office is like Grand Central Terminal. And I thought that was a Freudian slip. The Oval Office is like Grand Central Terminal. She's like, "You don't even know how many people's hands he shakes every day. The Oval Office is like Grand Central Terminal." I know she meant Grand Central Station, but like I said, Freudian slip. Oh, did you hear about the woke font? Did you guys know that fonts can be woke and fonts can be anti-woke? I'm not even kidding you. So Marco, little Marco, he went off about the woke font, the Calibri. We're changing it back to New Times Roman. Marco Rubio. This was like the day before yesterday. I was just like, really? Woke font, huh? You don't have anything better to focus on? The Daily Show did a really good skit about it. I'll put a link to that in the description. And then I had found this article about it that I had read. I don't know if I can find it again. Let me try. I read it out loud to a friend of mine and we were just cracking up. Let's see if I can find it. I wish I could remember. Oh, I think it was this 3 days ago. I think it was the New York Times. Let me see. That might not be it though, because that doesn't look as funny as was it The Guardian? Was it this one? Calibri? Is this really the world's wokest font? Or was it I think it was this. I think it was the AP News. Calibri font becomes the latest DEI target as Rubio orders return to Times New Roman. I think I found it. No, that's not it. The one that I read was so funny. Let me just try one more. And then I'll give up if this isn't it. Yeah, this one is it. Okay. Let's see what you're saying. I watched a redheaded lady talking about him and the right. She went on X and other sites. She read some comments, and some of the right are really mad at him and the whole regime. Well, they should be. They have every right to be. He's kind of shat all over the freaking Republican Party. He's like chewed it up and spit it out. I mean, No, I didn't know that fonts are woke and not woke. Oh, you're going to love this, Annabees. They have all dug their own resting places. Okay, so this article is The Guardian. I'll put a link to it in the description in case you want to share it with anybody. And it's titled Calibri. Is this really the world's wokest font? It was the Windows typeface for 17 years and adopted by the Biden administration for its readability for those with visual impairments. But Marco Rubio has ruled that Calibri lacks decorum. Name Calibri, age 19, appearance woke. Woke? Who is he, she? It's not a person, it's a typeface. If you say so, you may know it from word processing warning boxes such as the font Calibri is missing. Your text might look different. What I mean is they don't go to jail for insider trading and the other many crimes they committed. They will never be taken seriously politically again. Well, and I think, I think little E and little T and their buddies had everything to do with the major economic standstill of 2008, with the economic crisis of 87, and I think what we're looking at right now, staring straight ahead of us. Okay, let me see if I can read this all funny. I knew I'd heard of it, even if I have no idea what it looks like. It's a sans serif typeface designed by Lucas de Groot and first released with Windows Vista operating system in 06, along with a bunch of other new fonts beginning with C: Cambria, Candara, Consolas, Corbel. But Calibri subsequently became the default font for Microsoft Office. Then I guess I do know what it looks like. It's pretty unassuming, but Calibri is meant to be more readable than some fonts and cause fewer issues with optical character recognition software. You said it looked woke. No, not me. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. What's he got to do with it? Back in 2023, the U.S. State Department switched from Times New Roman to Calibri for all of its official documents because Calibri was easier to read for people with certain visual disabilities, and it works better with assistive technologies, including text-to-speech screen readers. Makes sense. But in a department cable this week, Rubio ordered a switch back to Times New Roman. Why? To restore decorum and professionalism to the department's written work products and abolish yet another wasteful DEIA program, he wrote. DEIA, diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility. The four horsemen of wokery. That's my favorite part. The four horsemen of wokery as far as Trump's administration is concerned. So a professional and decorous document is one that visually impaired people can't read. Serif typefaces like New Times Roman are generally perceived to connote tradition, formality, and ceremony, according to Rubio. We really are losing the war on stupid. Perhaps you think official Trump administration documents should be printed in Comic Sans. Comic Sans? The lighthearted comic book speech bubble typeface that proved so popular it ended up in all sorts of inappropriate places, including headstones, inscriptions, domestic violence leaflets, and Second World War memorials. I think people should use whatever font they like. They all have their uses. Designers like Helvetia, publishers like Garamond. Trebuchet is good for digital media. Is this the first time humble Calibri has made the news? No, it's played a long role in solving crime and uncovering fraud. This is great for us true crime aficionados. How? This is true. because the specific year it was first offered. Documents have been shown to be forgeries because they were printed in Calibri, but dated before Calibri was available. Is that the best? Do say the font Calibri is missing. Don't say, sorry, Secretary Rubio, I got your memo, but I couldn't read it. That's the whole thing. Before I wrap up, I want to read your comments and I want to talk about Erica Kirk. Oh, Coco. Come here, baby girl. Coco. Come here, Coco. Come here. Come here. Come here, baby. I forgot you were in here. So quiet. She's so quiet. Come here, good girl. You can cuddle right there. So let's read your comments. My hat keeps like slipping upward. What I mean is they don't go. Oh, okay. There weren't any new comments. I already read that one. They don't go to jail for insider trading and the other many crimes they committed. They will never be taken seriously politically again. Oh, I don't know. I just think it's going to be hard for them to get back. And so many of them are resigning, not running for re-election, running and hiding. Yeah. After today, who knows? Who the F knows? So Erica Kirk has been on the tour of grieving widow. And she interviewed with the New York Times, and I spoke about that in my last video, where she was wearing that really bizarre cape that was reminiscent of the kind of cape that they wear in the Handmaid's Tale television series. And I just want to say that overall, her entire demeanor, her anger, her hostility, her venomous defensiveness and attacking, none of that is grieving widow. None of that. She's not a grieving widow. Period. That's my professional opinion. That's my humble conspiracy theory opinion, allegedly. But yeah, she gives herself away with all of her attitude and words. I mean, first of all, being appointed to be the CEO of her deceased husband's company 8 days after he passes away. I think it was actually Candace Owens who said the appropriate thing would have been to appoint an interim CEO and then down the road appoint Erica. Touche. Very, very true. 8 days after, a person losing their spouse is the most stressful experience known to humanity. The most stressful experience known to humanity. That's just like textbook fact. The most stressful event that you could ever go through. Anna Bees, you can attest to this, right? When you lose somebody that you care about, and especially to senseless violence, you can't function. You cannot eat. You cannot sleep. You certainly can't string a freaking sentence together. But man, does she have a lot to say. Razor sharp tongue. She barely missed a beat. It was day 2 that she was there at the podium next to his empty chair, spitting nails at people. Oh, you think that you can stop him? You have no idea what you've unleashed. It's like she thinks she's a freaking cartoon character. She really makes herself into a cartoon character. That's all I got to say about that. Like, she's a monster. She's horrible. And she, in my opinion, definitely had something to do with it. And I know that that's a pretty accusatory statement, but everything I just said, in my opinion, backs that up. There's just no way. Like, she is just so phony. Her grief is so phony. She's not even a good actress. She's really not. First of all, you're not going to be high profile. When you're grieving, you want to lay low. You just want to stay in bed. You want to take care of yourself. You want to take care of your kids. You actually will need people to take care of you. Right? But no, she's out here making all these public appearances and feeling up the president and feeling up the VP, and then going on talk shows to defend her intimate touching of Vance's head. Oh, that's how I hug everybody. You want a hug? I'll hug you like that too. MTG is going to make a run for president. Yeah, I believe it. I definitely think that she will. You know, and I mean, the stuff that she's said in the past that's so unforgivable, because she won't take it back. She won't say, yeah, I was wrong. I mean, she was right there with Charlie Kirk talking about gun control and how there shouldn't be any, and losing loved ones, underage loved ones, mind you, to school shootings each year is just par for the course. You just have to suck it up. I mean, Charlie Kirk said that. So, you know, unless they're going to take it back, unless they're going to say, yeah, well, yeah, we said that, but now we realize how stupid that was. I mean, I do appreciate her speaking out, MTG. I do appreciate her speaking out for the survivors of Little E. But again, I don't even trust that she's doing that for the right reasons. I think she's doing that for popularity. She's a snake. Yes, I remember Erica's cape from the last live. It's a very difficult time from my experience. I could not think, and I've never been the same again. Oh, my dear, I am so sorry. I know. A good friend of mine lost her husband a few years ago. It's really, really hard. I don't know about MTG. She's like a fruitcake to me, even if she changed her mind on DT. Yeah. You know, I mean, honestly, I can't help but think that there was some hanky-panky with her and DT too. I mean, that man has no boundaries. He sees women as sex objects. She is acting like a jilted lover, and he's accusing her of acting like a jilted lover. I kind of think she's a jilted lover, but either way, I totally agree, Christine. She's the devil in disguise, that EK. Man, her eyes, when the way she speaks, sorry, my tongue, I almost bit it, and then I'm like whistling with my freaking wax and braces. The way she speaks, it's like it's so contrived. It's like she went to that same school that Lindsay Rodney Neiman went to, where they're like trying to mesmerize and hypnotize. And DJT does it too, where they get into this groove and they're just like, I don't even know how to describe it, but you guys know what I'm talking about, right? And then her eyes, and the way she's looking up, and the way they look like snake eyes. And she does have pretty eyes when they're not looking like snake eyes. I will admit that she does have really pretty eyes. But the biggest thing with her that I can't believe people aren't talking about, and I want to just like scream it from the rooftop, even though I've said it a bunch of times, the biggest thing about her And our dear leader is that she won that 2007 Miss Arizona Teen in 2007 before she graduated high school in 2007. So she would have won it at the end of 06 for the title for 2007. And why is that so secretive? And then she says the way she got into the pageantry was that she got a letter that invited her to compete. But we know that she's a liar. I mean, just that whole story about how she saw her future husband in the snake of the line in Israel. The snake of the line. That's another part of the training, is when to use your hand to hypnotize people. I second that remark, Christine. She's the devil in disguise. Yeah. OMG, I was just about to say what you just said. Well, I wish you could say it for me, because, man, these freaking braces are so hard to speak with. And, yeah, I did get them adjusted on Monday, and I thought, oh, it's going to be so much easier, but I don't know if it's ever going to be easier. I think I'm just going to have to live like this for like a year, another year and a couple of months. It's just really hard. It sucks, but I want to keep doing my live, so I will. I really apologize for missing 4 days in a row. It was killing me. It was breaking my heart, but let me fill you in on the reasons, not the excuses, because I never want to have excuses for not making my videos, because I love making them and I love that people watch them. But it was nice out. It's been pretty nice out. And we're going to hit single digits this weekend. We're going to hit 1 degree this weekend. So it's been, like warm. It's been like 30. So I've been doing my 2-hour walks almost every day. And I did one the other day when I was getting like pelted in the face with little pieces of ice. And I was like, well, at least it's not rain. I'm not getting wet. It's dry. And it was really cold with the wind chill. And I even walked in that for like 90 minutes. And I was going to do a live that night, but man, that took it out of me. I was toast. I was completely toast. So trying to do my 2-hour walk and my yoga and my live, and I'm cleaning the house, man. I'm totally like doing the deep cleaning, the organizing, the purging. I've been taking stuff to donate like every day, just like a small load every single day. It's really exciting when I get into that mode. Having raised 4 children, we have a lot of stuff to go through. I mean, we try to purge along the way, but you know how hard it is to keep up. And now with only having 1 kid in the house, it's much more manageable. So trying to get ready for Christmas, trying to get ready for the tree and get ready for people visiting. I've just been doing a ton of reorganizing. I don't know. What can I show you? Well, like you can kind of see down here in the corner, the chair's in the way. Let me move some stuff. These kinds of fabric bins, and let me move that light too. There. Can you see that? That's like a cube of like 4 of those fabric bins. I've been doing a lot of that, organizing, just replacing worn out bins with nicer, newer bins. Like here, I just got these yesterday. Can you see these? They're a pretty sage green, and that's like a stack of 4. And then I could give you the whole tour, but it's kind of messy on the other side of the room. So I've just been trying to do every little bit that I can. So when I pull out the bins and switch them out to nicer, newer bins, then I'm going through all this stuff too, and trying to purge what I don't need. And just simplify, downsize, too much stuff, not enough space. So them's my excuses. Do you get a real tree? Yes, we almost always get a real tree, and we usually go out with this like a forest. We go out to a Christmas tree forest and pick one out and chop it down as a family. Even though it's sad to sacrifice the tree. We've tried digging them up so that we can keep it in a planter and then replant it, but that's never worked. It's a lot of work. It's really expensive, and transplanting trees just doesn't really work. I mean, you really need to plant them when they're little and let them grow in one place. Don't ever try to transplant a tree. I've tried it gardening too, and it just doesn't work. I gave up on a real tree about 10 years ago when if you want to finish your sentence, I used to, but the last 3 years I've had a fake tree. I bought a really beautiful one last year, but I don't feel like even putting it up. Yeah, I bought a tiny little fiber optic one last year. I don't even know where I put it, but my daughter had that in her room, and then we had the Christmas tree in the living room. But yeah, if it was up to me, I wouldn't bother with one. I do have a lot of nice ornaments, but I would just figure out another way to like set up the ornaments. But the kids have to have the tree, so what you gonna do? The price went up to $90. Oh my goodness, that's insane. Yeah, I don't think we've paid more than maybe like $50 for our trees. I know one year in Seattle we paid like $20 at IKEA, and it was the worst tree we ever had. It was a horrible tree. It was all dry. I'm surprised our house didn't burn down. But yeah, that's crazy. That is so expensive. I wouldn't spend that much. And yeah, to get a fake tree, those can be expensive too. Christine, I've paid up to $200 for a real tree. Oh man, you must have like a really tall ceiling, Annabise, like a cathedral ceiling. That is insane. So yeah, we just have regular ceilings, so we'll just get a regular tree. But yeah, it's so much work. But I just have to roll with it. And I live in Wisconsin, and we grow pine trees everywhere. Wow. Yeah, that's wild. That is wild. See, where I am in Ohio, there's a lot of trees. There's a lot of local farms. And so they're not that high. They're not that highly priced. I'm talking a 7-footer. Yeah. I used to really like doing Norfolk pine trees, but you can't really put ornaments on those. But I love Norfolk pine trees. Those are really cute. They're just very dainty. You can put tinsel on them, and that's about it, right? Maybe a couple of super lightweight ornaments. All right. So yeah, I should try to do a little Christmas decorating in here too, huh? I saw Nick Fuentes went crazy with Christmas trees. It's like so tacky. It's hilarious. It's just like no taste, zero. But what do you expect from Nick Fuentes, right? I don't watch his channel, of course. I just see other channels that show clips from him, and I'm just like, ugh. I think he has like 3 Christmas trees behind him, and they're just like all tacky. Luke Beasley did a really nice job with just like a string of Christmas lights, like some little white lights, and he has like a nice indigo blue, kind of looks like water as his scenery. It's always fun to see what people do for their Christmas holidays. I remember a few years ago, I would do my videos like right next to my tree. So I think that was like 2 or 3 years ago. I don't know. I mean, I already kind of have my Christmas lights in here, but we'll figure something out. Nick Fuentes is a virgin. I know, Annabise. He said so. I mean, does he still live in his parents' basement? Because that's what it looks like with all his Christmas tree decor. I'm like, I know that that's his parents' basement, right? My living room ceiling is about 9 or 10 feet high. Yeah, Nick Fuentes is a freaking idiot. He is extremely racist against Latin American people. He did not realize that he was Latin American, or he did not realize that Latin American wasn't white. But also, I mean, think of Stephen Miller. Yeah, that's his name, Stephen Miller. I always think the Stephen Miller Band. Stephen Miller, the evil, like Squidward freak that's Donnie's puppet master, that guy, he's Jewish, and he is the ultimate Jew hater. I mean, these people, it's their self-loathing. And you're just like J.D. Vance saying that his kids aren't mixed race, but your wife's from India. I mean, and mixed race, I think, is some of the most beautiful specimens of people, really. I mean, you get such a wild gene pool with like maybe like green or blue eyes and like tawny skin and light hair, dark skin, light eyes. I mean, I love that kind of exotic, unpredictable gene pool that you can get when you're mixing race. But yeah, these people are ridiculous. I wouldn't doubt it if he lived in his parents' basement. Bald head dude. Which bald head dude? Are you talking about Tim Pool? That guy? He's a freak too. Yeah. I mean, these people are making their living off of hate. And it's like the baiting people with the rage bait, and then trying to get the clicks and the views from all of that. And like even Dan Bongino recently said, he admitted, I think accidentally, that he was getting paid to try to pump up the conspiracy theory about that Jeffrey Epstein didn't do that to himself in jail. He admitted that he was making his money by having that opinion, but it kind of sounded like somebody was paying him to talk about it like that. But we know that that's how they make their money, by being controversial. So, but yeah, I want to say as I wrap up, and thanks so much for being here, you guys. Steve Miller, yeah. What was I going to say? Candace Owens, Tim Pool, Nick Fuentes, and one more. They're just like beefing it up. They're just going after each other. Who's the fourth one? Nick Fuentes, Candace, Tim Pool. One more of these idiots. Oh, I'm blanking out. But man, they are just at each other's throats. And I think that they're a paid distraction, basically. I think that they're trying to steal the headlines, steal the narrative. I think their beef is fake. Candace Owens beef with Fuentes, and who is the other guy? Tim Pool and someone else. Let's see if it'll come up. There's a fourth one. You guys know who? Not Piers Morgan. Tucker Carlson. That's who it is. So Tucker Carlson, Tim Pool, Nick Fuentes, and Candace Owens, I think, are all on the same team. I think they're working together, pretending to fight to up all of their ratings and to control the narrative and to get everybody to look over here, the whole Charlie Kirk shenanigans, so that you don't look over here at the Epstein shenanigans. That's what I think is going on. I think that the whole thing with Charlie Kirk is sus AF. It's a crazy situation. It's unthinkable, but it's total bullshit. It's total bullshit. And all of them fighting about it is total bullshit. My son has hazel eyes. They have gold, green, light brown. Exactly. And Ben Shapiro. Yeah, that's another one. But yeah, it was Tucker Carlson was the one I was trying to think of. But you are correct. But they should all be looked at. The content creators should all be looked at, or the people that they're accusing. I mean, I think that actually, I'm in full agreement with Candace Owens, actually, that it was Bibi, Daddy Vladdy, and dear leader. I think international and our own government, and that guy Phil Lyman, the local one who ran for governor, who was there, who met with Charlie Kirk that morning, who was visiting with him right up until it happened. I think that the people behind him, I think his staff, his security detail, I think they were in on it. And I think his wife was in on it. I think that was all about trying to bury the Epstein files. And he was trying to push to have transparency with the Epstein files. Donnie had called him up personally a couple of weeks before he passed away, before he was unalived. He said that Donnie had called him up personally, him and the other guy, Benny Johnson. Is that his name? They both said that DJT called them specifically to say, quit talking about the files, trust us, we're taking care of it. And they both said, yes, sir. And then it was when the birthday book was released that Charlie Kirk did a 180 when the birthday book was released. And I'd have to look back to remember the date that the birthday book was released. Let me see if AI will tell me. But then within a few days, he was taken out. And then, there's this whole thing with this condominium that Charlie Kirk owns near Sarasota, Florida, on this little island. And all of the people that started, I want to say Grindr, but not Grindr, Rumble. All the people that started Rumble have property on that island, and he was working with all those weirdos that started Rumble. Dan Bongino is one of them, and Howard Nutlick is one of them, and probably Peter Thiel. That's a name I haven't mentioned. But what was I going to look up? Oh, the day that the birthday book was loaded to the cloud. Epstein birthday book. So one of the reasons why I wanted to put the link in the description to the 96,000 photographs is because I want people to be able to look at them before that gets shut down, in case it does. Epstein birthday book, loaded to cloud. Loaded to cloud. What day? Let's see if AI can tell me that. Oh yeah, Monday, September 8th. 2 days later, Charlie's. Wow. Whoa. Monday, September 8th. I thought it was right away, quick. It seemed like it was just a few days, but that's even quicker than I remember it being. People that are being talked about that may or may not have interest in all of these unaliving in politics. You know, people around our president seem to drop like flies. What about the guy who blew up Matthew Livelsberger? Got blowed up in his freaking Tesla Cybertruck in front of Trump Tower in Vegas on New Year's Day. Why aren't we hearing about that? It's freaking crazy bogus. And why does my hair have to look so uneven there? There was the Matthew Livelsberger. There was the other guy that had a rental truck, also the white, wasn't it an F-150? The white truck in New Orleans that ran people over and everything. New Orleans, New Year's Day. White truck. And they both rented them through the same things, you know. And then like you've got the Luigi Mangione writing on his bullets, and then you got Tyler Robinson inscribing on his bullets, Luigi inscribed. But then you had like the anti-ice people with their black Sharpie just writing anti-ice right. That's not Kash Patel, definitely not. Oh, and Kash Patel, I was talking about him in my last video, the Hysteria channel that did that really good This Effing Guy on Kash Patel and how they believe that Kash is Q from QAnon. What type of truck? Sorry, 1 second. New Year's Day. It was a white Ford F-150, which is crazy because, you know, F-150s are supposed to be like the MAGA vehicle. And then all of these terrorists, in my opinion, are basically like hired guns. They're radicalized online. I think that our administration is behind it. I think that we have a terrorist administration that's committing acts of terrorism in our country. That's what I think. Charlie passed on 9/11. It was the day before 9/11. And see, that's another thing, Annabise, is that the day before 9/11 and then like the Dear Leader's fake assassination attempt was the day before his wife's Ivana's 2-year anniversary of her falling down the stairs. She fell down the stairs the day before the 3 depositions were scheduled to start, the week-long depositions for Don Jr., Don Sr., and Ivanka. All this day before stuff. So yeah, it's like they were trying to distract from 9/11 memorial stuff, you know, because they didn't want their buddy MBS to look bad, right? I mean, then he's got MBS in the White House like a month and a half later, 2 months later, after 9/11. Really? Well, Anna never thought about it. Why don't we hear more about the senators getting red-rummed and almost red-rummed? Right, the ones in Minnesota, and then like there was like the judge whose house got blown up. I want to say that was in Jersey, but it might have been Florida. I mean, Governor Shapiro's governor's mansion getting, was it Mazel Tov cocktails thrown in there, some type of fire bombs. These things don't happen in the real world so often as they do when this guy is in office. I haven't either, Christine. Oh, about the 9/11 thing, about the 9/10, 9/11. Oh my goodness. I mean, acts of terrorism are treasonous. Oh, and then trying to make it treasonous for people to have opinions that don't go along with what MAGA wants you to say and think and do. You're not allowed to have a different opinion. That's going to be, they're going to come get all of us. You know what? Sign me up. Like, I'm not taking your crap. Not taking your crap. Live free or die. That's not a dare. Don't come after me. But no, I mean, you can't live like that. We're not that country, are we? Daddy Vladdy. All right, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you kindly. Love to my peeps. And see you soon. Drink your water. Eat your protein. Don't get stressed out about the holidays. Try not to anyway. And communism is alive and brewing. I don't know what. I mean, that's what Daddy Vladdy's all about. I mean, what they like about it is that the oligarchy. That's what they like about it. And that's what they want here. That's exactly what they want here. You get 2 pencils and 2 dolls, and you can shut the F up and quit complaining. Right? Merry effing Christmas. Here's your freaking pencil and your damn doll. All right. Love you guys. See you soon, hopefully.